Greetings, peeps. So wanted to do a final rundown on this Burgundy campaign. I'm going back through and tidying up some of the older episodes. There's some weird stuff that I've got to deal with, particularly a crackly mic, which I don't know what exactly I'll do on that, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know where that crackle's come from, but hopefully I've dealt with it now with the new headset. But oops, and that was just me whacking my finger into the mic, nothing to do with crackly mic. But what I did want to show you through, after having revisited those older, after having revisited this campaign, is all of the achievements that we went through, because the achievements pop up on the Steam window in this area that doesn't carry through to what you guys see as part of the video. So these are the various achievements that we picked up during this run. Quite a few in here. So let's have a look. We'll start at the very bottom. We've got Viva la Revolution, which appeared when we helped the noble rebels in Spain take over their country, and we forced the Spanish to concede to their demands, and we got this achievement, and they got -20 prestige, -20 legitimacy, if I recall. There was another one that popped at the same time, which was my true friend, go to war in support of a rebel faction and win, enforcing their demands. So we got both of those from that same war. We also won a war, which got us victorious. We got a royal marriage, which gave us until death do us part. We controlled 3 cardinals, I think more than that I'd imagine by this stage. Wrong button. We've got 7 cardinals by the looks of things. We doubled that achievement. What else did we do? We did the Burgundian conquest, so that was the main one that we were looking to do. We vassalized both France and Austria. In this save, that had just happened. This was the last save of that campaign, which I haven't since gone back to. I'm certain you'll be very surprised by that. These guys were just vassalized, and that was what had us tick over. But we also had to control all of the Low Countries, which were those guys in through there. And I think we had to do several of those, and they were quite tricky, some of them, just because of their relationship with Austria and their being within the HRE and us being allied with Austria. Grand Navy, Grand Army is building our maximum navies and armies. I'm certain we'd do that in most every campaign. Conquering a province and killing more than 10,000 men in a battle. You'd imagine we'd do both of those in most campaigns. I think in the last video there's an example of that occurring, and that may have been when it first happened. I'm not certain. I wouldn't imagine so. We did some big wars, but we did destroy a Russian army that was there of somewhere around 16 or 18,000 men. Installing a union through a succession war. That's what we did with Bohemia to take charge of them. That was quite, I mean, those are brilliant when you get to do those. That's the Game of Thrones. It's fantastic. My true friend, we already saw. Accumulating money. Yep, we've done that. 3,000 gold is quite a lot of money. It's you'd expect to be able to accumulate that much towards the end of the game, but this is still fairly early, so we did quite well. Diplo annexing vassals. We did nevers early on in the campaign. We integrated the junior partners that we had, and I don't know if that counts towards that achievement. I have a feeling that it may only be vassals as opposed to junior partners. Factionalism, having 3 different estates in your country with at least 70 influence. Every game that you play, you should look to get your estates up to 75 before you request support of them, so you get the maximum amount, so you get 150. I've actually, since I think part of this, I think earlier on in this campaign, I questioned whether or not pushing an estate up to 100 influence does get you 200 monarch points, and it does. It definitely does. I've done it once since in one of the other campaigns. I don't know which one, but that's verified. If you can get your estate up to 100% influence, and then request and then demand support of them, you will get 200 monarch points of whatever flavor they give you. One thing to be wary of is that once you're at 100, it can be quite tricky to get them back below the 80 that they need to be below to avoid them starting a coup. It can be done though. If you cycle things the correct way, you can definitely do it, and it very much requires some planning to go to 100 and then bring it back down below 80. But if you're in the process of expanding a lot, or you've had some events that push their happiness right up and they already have a lot of land that you can take from them, you definitely can do it. Also, if they're on a timer, if you check their influence modifiers, if you're close to a period where they're going to lose a whole bunch, for example with the nobles here, around, if you were to push their influence up to 100 somewhere around early 1690, then you'd likely manage to avoid the coup, because they would lose 10% at 1690 and they would lose 15% at 1692. So it can be done. Yeah, there's just got to be some good planning going into it. But for the extra 50 monarch points, it's absolutely worth trying. Become Defender of the Faith. We did this, but I don't know if it made it onto the video. I didn't notice it spoken about in the video. Defender of the Faith is just a matter of going into the religion tab, clicking this button. It costs 500 ducats, but that's all it takes to become Defender of the Faith. Defenders of the Faith have one really amazing advantage in that if you're Catholic, you can't be excommunicated if you're the Defender of the Faith. So I don't know if you can become Defender of the Faith when you are excommunicated, but if your ally takes control of the Curia, of the Papal Curia, then that's Curia, I'm not certain how to say it exactly. That's a good way to avoid the excommunication that would certainly be incoming, which was something that I didn't know until later on. So it's definitely a thing to think about. It has some great bonuses, but it also has that plus 5% technology cost. So it's not always worth getting. It also drags you into wars that you may not want to go into. There's a bit to being Defender of the Faith. You're required to defend anyone who's of your faith against anyone who's not of your faith attacking them, and that includes not just heathens, but heretics also. So it can be quite messy, particularly if you're Catholic or Protestant in the middle of Europe. It can get tricky, but it's absolutely a worthwhile thing doing. That 5% morale is super good, and if you're doing a lot of conversions, it's a real easy way to get another missionary. Brothers in Arms, we know all about that one. We've won, I'd imagine, several wars as the secondary participant, and Bleed Them Dry was achieved easily with all of those. I think there was 3 coalition wars that happened during this campaign, and when you're fighting that number of combatants, you'll definitely end up getting lots of war reparations happening. So those were all of the achievements. We weren't far off getting that. We can't see. Alright, actually that's not true. We're missing a whole bunch of islands. We're missing Australia and New Zealand, or Hawaii, all of those islands in the middle of the Pacific. So that would have taken a while. But yes, this was a fun campaign. I've actually even enjoyed going back through and watching everything that happened, particularly my belly aching about how, oh, this is definitely on hard. There's no way this game was on hard. I was just freaking out, being a loser. This is definitely on normal. I can guarantee that. When I loaded this game up, I had to check it, and it was definitely on normal. So any of my belly aching is vastly incorrect, and I'm a plonker. What I want to try and do, this has crashed the last couple of times that I've tried it, and I don't understand exactly why, but this hopefully will allow us to resign and see the resignation menu, the game over menu. So if it's here, great. If it's not, then maybe I'll see you in the next video, but let's give it a go. Yeah, cool. Alright, this is the resignation menu. We can see that we finished the game with not without finishing all of our idea groups. We did get 5, including espionage, which I think I had nothing but good things to say about in this game. Espionage can be really powerful in the right circumstances, and it depends on exactly how you're playing, but it has some really good things. It has some not so good things, but it has some really good things. It's yeah. I didn't go into ideas terrifically deeply in this playthrough, I don't think, and that's one thing that I'm reconsidering. I maybe should make an addendum about ideas at some point, but I mean, there's enough. I've done enough campaigns that you should get all of the information that you need about idea groups from those, and in fact they explain most everything in the tooltips for the various ideas. So it's one of those things that you can learn quite easily. So we finished with maximum stability and prestige. We had 35 ideas of a possible 54, 56. We were at tech levels 21, 20 and 23. We had 83 provinces. We had 132% overextension. Whoa. We had 100% religious unity. Really? That's a lot of overextension, dude. Our country must have been shitting itself at about this point. We had lots of men and stuff. We had lots of boats and stuff. We had the 3rd largest army in the world, the 2nd largest navy, 4th most provinces. 4th? Ottomans. Oh yeah, Ottomans, Russia and Ming, of course. 3rd highest province value. That's interesting. I thought we'd have the highest. We mustn't be far off. I imagine Ming should be ahead of us. Oh yeah, Ming and Ottomans, I guess between them would probably be higher than us, and would be higher than Russia. Highest income and highest trade. Very cool. And our score is a measly 4357, but that's no big deal. This game wasn't about getting a high score, it was about achieving our Burgundian conquest. So we played as Burgundy. We played as Burgundy. Almost no one plays as Burgundy. It'll be interesting to see these stats, what people do play the most. I'd be quite intrigued by that. Longest reigning ruler was 42 years. 78 of our wars ended in victory, and none ended in defeat. That's interesting, because that is certainly not the case once we start playing on hard and on very hard. So yeah, these are very nice stats compared to what we'll see in the future. Each year about 0. I don't know. That's just wrong. I've got a feeling it's because I've had to switch on and switch off DLCs. It may be that these stats are a little bit wacky-doodly because of that. Each year, so the loss of about 6,000 units. That makes sense. And ships we barely used. We wiped 14 nations off the earth. We annexed 82 provinces. Given that we've only got, what was it, 100 provinces? That's quite a few. That's a very high percentage of the stuff we own. 8 provinces were stolen from us. I Don't really know where that would have happened or how that would have happened, but maybe it includes the provinces that we gave away early on in our efforts to join the HRE and our failed efforts to join the HRE. Yes, she was the legendary leaders. We had 48 leaders, but that leader was amazing. She was spectacular, and I think she may still be running at this point in the game. I think she was think she was used in that last war. I wasn't paying a great deal of attention, but I'm fairly certain she was, and she was amazing. Those stats are top notch. We were Catholic. Most people are also Catholic. Our grandest province was Florence, with Florence. I don't know how you actually pronounce that properly. With 36 development, that's it's not very high, but considering how early in the game we are, it's quite high. On average, yada 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 yada. So that's about that. Hopefully that's a better round out than what I left this with initially. I think this better explains what happened in this game and how things went along and what achievements we got, given that the recording method that I used didn't show up the Steam alerts. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you. Well, make sure you come back for the next installment. I'm not sure which that will be, but there's plenty of them to be uploaded. It's very much more a case of me actually just going through and doing the editing. So we'll hopefully see you for the next one, and what that will be I can't tell you, but we'll see you then. Cheers heaps, bye.